Joining us tonight is Jon Bach. Welcome, Jon. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So I was referring to the little incident that we had this morning. You started your talk by saying that you were a little uncomfortable if something didn't go wrong, and as
he was really comfortable this morning.
So what happened?
I said a bad rehearsal means a good show, and
Yep.
something always has to go wrong, for me to feel like, okay, good, that was the... Remember that scene in Apollo 13 where he said, okay, guys, that's our glitch for this mission, right? And it wasn't the big explosion. Okay, no, other than that. So I think it was the firewall setting, trying to get my firewall to work. And so, yeah, and I felt really good. It's just superstition, I guess, but we found our thing.
There was a definitive lack of safety language in your answer.
There
Something always has to go
Something
wrong.
always has. So far, it seems
Safety
like
language
something always has to
violation.
go wrong.
Based on your experience.
Based on my
I
experience, seems like.
So your
Could be.
talk this morning was about argument, correct?
Yes.
So what was the precipitous for this? So I asked you to speak, and you came back and you said, this is the topic I want to talk about.
First, I thought, cast and the keynote. So 2 big opportunities. My community and a chance to have a captive audience to say something really important to me that hasn't actually been said in a keynote before. And yes, there's a lot of testing stuff I could talk about. But the thing that jumped right out at me had just happened a few days before on Twitter, where James, my brother, had gotten into some argument and got the invariable, can't we all just get along, and why do you have to make things so tough, and what's the big deal, and just can we get along? And I thought, again, with this, and the answer is, I just said, no, we can't get along. Or at least I wanted to say that. I didn't tweet that, but I thought, okay, so
No.
no. I should've- that's 140 characters or less.
Yeah? Can we all get along?
Can we all get along? No. And I thought, okay, so
No exclamation mark.
Right.
No with an
yeah,
yes.
really put some force behind it.
put some emphasis. I thought, okay, so I imagined actually where I'm sitting now in front of the audience and maybe some new people to cast. And okay, maybe they were thinking cast as just an ordinary testing conference, and then you would give your thing about, hey, this is facilitated debate and discussion, and you're free to have polarizing opinions, and that's not only allowed, it's encouraged. And so I wanted to take that opportunity to take 2 divisive issues, the test is dead argument and the certification argument, and say, listen, here's why we can't get along. And I've distilled some elements of why that is. And now that you know that, or whatever I was planned to say for those 40 minutes, I hadn't yet figured it out, but to really be the key note for this kind of conference so that the rest of the day hopefully would have a tone set that it would be okay to stand up if you were a newbie and say, hey, in Jon's keynote this morning, he said it was okay, and I really have to take issue, and this is the first time I'm doing this, and he said I could feel safe, and then to kind of see to test that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told you that, when you said, what's your abstract, and I said, you said, oh, you're swinging for the fences, and that let me know I was on the right track to do something like that.
So we have a lot of folks who are new to CAST this year, which was actually amazing to see.
That was phenomenal. Ben, at the beginning, when he asked how many people this is your first cast, at a guess, it would say at least 75%.
Yeah.
At
Wow.
least.
It's amazing.
Which was
Cool.
literally the first time since Indianapolis Cast 1.
So
Very
what's
good.
been your feedback from folks who've heard the talk this morning?
It's hard to say. It's easy to say. It's been largely good. No one has come up and said, "Wow, that really sucked." Of course, would they do that? Yeah. There was one person. There actually a couple of people came to me and said, "Good, but you missed an opportunity to do X or to say this."
And now you have that opportunity.
Now you
And
can.
Now I forgot what the things were.
Oh no.
And you missed the opportunity to write those down.
I missed the opportunity right now. One was to say
Didn't you just say you forgot?
No, you just thought of it.
No, I
just
just
now.
thought you
Yeah.
triggered me to think.
Yeah.
Of it. That happens
I'm
sometimes.
here for a reason.
You're here for good reason.
No.
What was? Now I forgot it.
Oh, see, now look what you've done.
No, he said that you could have taken an opportunity to say, I need you to actually make an argument, to have that courage to actually more overtly say, and stand up right now and make some kind of thing. A stronger call to action, and it was subtle in my slides, at least in his opinion. And so that was good. That was constructive. But yeah, my big fear was that it would come across as, now what's this have to do with testing, John? And so I was prepared to do like half the talk of argument, the other kind of argument, like an experiment argument. I want to make an argument that this bug should be fixed. Okay, and talk about experimentation and how you get the data to support your argument. And then I had so much energy in creating the slides that I went with about the other kind of argument, the debate, that I decided to stick with that. And that's what it wound up being.
Right.
It's a good thought. Yeah.
So we're all testers.
We're all testers.
Testing your own talk, what would you change?
I would change its length.
I too would offer that he change his length.
I always worry that I'm going to go short, and which is kind of silly because there's always Q&A, right? But the more, I run through several drafts. I'm doing my unit tests. I do my acceptance. I do my, what would Paul think? What would Ben think? What would James think of this? What am I missing? What's the dark room test? If I was, if someone was in the audience, to be like, I could have thought all this stuff up. What am I bringing to the table? I go through all those tests. And I go to bed the night before. It's usually 2 in the morning, and I go, have I done everything reasonable to be worthy of a key note to set the tone for a conference? And that's it. So I think I had too much content. I could have cut it off on lesson number 4. I had 5 lessons. Even though the 5th was my favorite, the journalism parallel, I didn't have to do that one. So I made it a little shorter and more on the discussion and conference, which I truly loved at the end.
So I always find it interesting how people get into software testing. So you mentioned during your keynote that you started in journalism. What was the road into software testing for you?
It was a journalism degree, being homeless and unemployed, sleeping on my brother's couch, and then writing a book about my dad and how he left when I was little, and then getting that published and living on that advance for a few years, and then just not having a job, letting the money run out. Like, okay, that was dumb. Dishwashing, bookstore clerk, data processing for commercial real estate listings. When I began to use software, really, to do this job, it was, there's these problems. And the CEO, which was the lead programmer, would say, tell me more about what you found. And of course, I'd also be answering the phones because it's a small company. And so it was fun to find that treasure and delight him and say, send me more of this stuff, he said. And so I talked to James about that, and he goes, would you like to learn how to do that on purpose instead of by accident? And I'm like, this is what you do. And so he only worked 12 blocks away or so, and so I walked down after work, and we'd jam, and he'd teach me these techniques that were just awesome. They just found more bugs. And so when the company went bankrupt that I was working for, I started interviewing at Microsoft, and then 18 years later, here I am with eBay.
So you referred to CAST as kind of your home conference. Why is that?
When the AST started in 2005, I think, and I wanted to do something around conferences, and there was a role for vice president of conferences. So I helped plan the first CAST, and it was so novel what we were trying to do with facilitated discussions and debate, and if there was energy in the room, that the next speaker would get bumped, and it was like, wow, this is like having a beer with the guys, right? This is what, and to scale, right? Speaking of beer.
Cue the beer.
I'm going to do a visual cue on that.
And you may. And then I said, this is so much fun. I want to see if I can put on this show, because I have some experience with 2006. So in 2007, it was CAST Seattle, and I was the program, the president of that, and that went great because I could say, this is what I want to see in a conference. And then, and it just felt like the community that showed up was so receptive to this innovative way of having a conference. I just felt so at home and comfortable, like many people report in the Agile community when they go to Agile 2010 or whatever, Agile 2012. They go, these are my people. And so when you asked me to keynote, I was like, yeah, this is so cool to try new material on an issue I think we need more energy on, and to lead off on the first day, absolutely an honor, and I did feel safe, so it was good.
And how has CAST changed over the years? So from when you started to today?
Well, there's this cool little box that is the Twitter.
No one will tweet us
Social
We
media.
have one tweet from
One-
Eric Jacobs.
from someone in the room,
It's
but
on.
Is this thing
yeah, that's not going to cut it.
Social media.
At AST_news.
Oh yeah, at AST_news.
AST_news, and
Underscore
then
news.
tweet your questions.
That's right. Even in the room, we don't mind.
We don't mind. That is off the hook cool. This show, this everything televised and recorded is absolutely to allow people around the world to be part of what happens in this room is absolutely phenomenal. That's a big change. The rest is pretty much the same, frankly, which is great. That's why I like Cast. But those are the interesting innovations that you've brought to the table that make it special.
So if you could offer up, let's say, new or experienced tester, one single tip to in their career, what might that be?
Oh, let me do this. Bake your half-baked ideas.
No.
You know, let them, as crazy as you think they might are, if you think they're the only one on the planet who would care, I guarantee you there's somebody who's going to go, I want to try that. That's cool. Whether it be session-based test management or open book testing or Lego-based scenario test development, which I've tried before with pieces of Legos.
Wait. Lego?
Lego-based, different colors are different features, and you stitch them together, and you make a tower, and each one of them is a step in that feature. So it's end-to-end scenario, and you've got, so it starts off as, I just want to make these steps into blocks.
Cool.
So this was just, I needed an event. I needed an idea for an event for a lunchtime fun thing at eBay, and my boss said, "You're good at that kind of stuff. Come up with something. You have an hour." And I'm like, oh, "Okay." And I thought, what would really help me is getting scenarios from my colleagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, I just want to say, well, make some scenarios, but let's do something tactile. And it worked really well. And so it's an idea that I tried with Rob Sabrin up in Canada at a little place where Adam White was working, and we had fun there doing it. So half-baked ideas. A conference like this is an ample opportunity to bake them and try them and vet them with different colleagues. That's the number one thing I think will make you feel like you're going to be successful.
Absolutely. So I have one more question. It's our fun question, unless you've got something else.
No, just what, go ahead.
All right, so we're asking one fun question this year.
Okay.
If you were a kitchen appliance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa, we got one coming in. Hold on.
If you
Stop the
were
presses.
a kitchen
Hold on.
appliance-
No,
Well,
I
I'll
can
ask
say.
the question, think
All right,
about
go
it,
ahead, go ahead.
and then,
Kitchen
hold on.
appliance.
If you were a kitchen appliance, what would you be and why? But before that, let's go ahead and ask the question from the tweet printer.
About your kitchen appliance for longer.
Yes,
Okay, got
right.
it.
All right.
John, as original developer of SBTM, do you still use it in its original form at your current job, or how have you tweaked it?
Oh, good question.
I do use it in its current form in my current job, and
Its original form.
in its original form, charter area, notes, bugs, issues, and how have I tweaked it? I've tweaked it in one way, and that is to make the charters smaller through this notion of an open book style of charter, which is something like a question you might see in an open book exam. Like, what are the 3 ways to find the most expensive thing on eBay, and then that incites the tester to explore. So yeah, it's still
real open-ended.
real open-ended. It's meant to
Okay.
be an open. It's not about getting the right answer. It's about how did you get that answer.
So does that promote more opportunities? Because at the same time, it's really wide.
It's really wide.
How does the opportunity versus on charter thing work?
What happens in the debrief is I say, what? Try to find the most expensive item, and they'll be like, okay, I found this, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Let's do more there, you know.
Okay.
And so it's a way to share knowledge across the board, because there is no wrong answer in a way. I mean,
That question was from, I believe it's Brett Hinton, by the way.
Oh.
Okay.
This one
Thank
is
you, Brett.
from Andy Tinkham.
Andy Tinkham.
Heather's
Joining
Hi,
us from
Andy.
Minnesota.
Heather's husband.
Heather's
The
husband.
interesting
From
thing
Minnesota.
here is Heather's third, and apparently Andy doesn't want to hear you because he has a question for John to keep John up here. This was going to be a very quick answer, though. Are the blocks chosen randomly or planned scenarios? I think he's talking about the Lego.
The Lego stuff. It's the way I did it was a pile of Legos in the middle of the table, and each one is color coded to a feature that let's say that there's 5 of us around this table. You just pick any color Lego you want, and red would be, for example, search on eBay, and green would be some kind of verticals like motors or collectibles or something like that. And so you pick red and you say, do a search for toys. And you pass it to me, and I'd pick maybe a green block, and it's search for toys, but in the maybe they're toys in the home and garden category. So could they be mixed? And I write that step and stitch your block to mine and pass it to the next person. So it's the blocks stand for something, but it's the person's choice of what block they're going to pick as they go around the table. That's all. And then at the end,
I don't make my string of Lego.
No,
I pass my Lego.
Exactly. Thank you for the question, Andy. That's really important. You pick one brick and pass it to the next person, and they pick a brick. And at the end of the round, you have a nice little tower.
If Andy was here, we'd give him a free beer. But
I'd give
he's
you a
not,
Lego
so
block,
I'll
but
drink
you're
it.
not.
All right. So what kitchen appliance?
Kitchen appliance.
Oh, the kitchen appliance thing. I think.
You are not getting away without answering
Nope.
that question.
Oh boy. Well, the first thing that came to mind was the rubber spatula, because you can after you cook something, like whether it be some kind of batter, then you don't waste anything, and you've got really good coverage.
Okay.
And you can take that and then just put it in with the rest of the batch and have a different notion of completeness. And that makes me feel good.
Scraper.
When everybody thinks they're done, then I come in and I'm the rubber spatula and say, "You missed
Not so
some, you
much."
missed some." Not so much.
You clean up. All
That's
right.
okay.
What
I clean up well. That's why I'm the rubber spatula.
Ooh. From Bad Bud 65 all the way over to the UK, and I think because of the time, we don't have time to ask this one.
Okay.
But, his question was good. What are the main things you would say to someone who is thinking of becoming a tester should do? And then please expand on the answer. Which is an awesome question, but we are out of time.
Out of time.
So.
All right. Well, I'll find the tweet. Can I have the tweet?
Not
And
yet.
I'll
Absolutely.
reply to them.
Take it right with you.
I'll reply to them. Okay. Thank you guys
Excellent.
for having me.
Thank you, John.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.